doubt an experience you'll not soon forget. Truly a panorama of the weird, the strange, the odd, the bizarre, the macabre, and the most unusual of all attractions. It is death-defying daredevil danger, in amazing and astonishing acts, antics, and amusements from all around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lucky Daredevil Thrill Show! Oh yeah, you guys catch on quick. I tell you what, we love you guys already, and they heard you backstage, so you keep that up. You're in for one heck of a show here tonight. But as it happens, folks, here at the Sideshow Gathering, you are in for one heck of a show, no matter what you do out there. You see, my name is Tyler Fire. This here is the lovely and talented Thrill Kill Jill. Oh yeah. And making his first ever stage debut, ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce Mr. Hank Lightning. Well, folks, we are going to dig in deep right off the bat and break out the big guns with what is unquestionably the most dangerous and deadly thing that can be done within and or to the human body, and that is take this. Thank you, Thrill Kill Jill. Sharp and skewer of solid steel this sword and stab it straight down into the center of where some say lies the soul. Yes, well, thank you. Thank you very much, but hold on. Already we know that this would be enough for some people, in some places, but for a hardcore crew, distinguished and deserving, such as each and every one of you, well, we are going to take this all the way to the edge. I'm going to go for not one, but two solid metal swords at the same time. What do you guys say? Would you like to see that? You've come to the right place, my friends. Here we go. Thank you guys once again. As you can see, these two swords here do in fact go deep down on me. But we haven't struck bottom just yet. And it's easy to see how Thrill Kill Jill here is built a little differently. So for her to search deep down inside for the center of her soul, well, it takes a sword of a different size and a sword of a different shape. I know what some of you might be thinking about right now. You might be thinking about sausages, hot dogs, or even carrots, because all these things could be cut with the metal sword she's holding in her hand right now. Folks, if all goes well, this stainless steel sword here is not going to cut into anything, even as it plunges deep down the darkened hole into that soft, sweet pink flesh at the center of her stomach. Here she goes. Hey, man. Yes, folks, if you think that's something, stick around. She is just getting started. In fact, it gets a whole lot better and a whole lot bigger the deeper in we go. Now, we told you guys we're going to break out the big guns. Well, we are going to do just exactly that. And what Thrill Kill Jill is holding in her hands right now is hands down the longest sword that can be humanly swallowed. Because this sword here measures in at 27.5 inches of cold hard steel. So when this one lands, it strikes gold. It'll be hitting directly on the exit from my stomach. But before I do risk my life for your entertainment, I want you guys to know something. You see, I used to swallow a sword a little longer than this one, but I kept ripping my pants. So this is it. 27.5 inches of cold hard steel over the lips and down the tongue. Watch out, stomach. Here it comes.
Apparently likes that. Introduce away. Woo!
guys once again. As you can see, this sword here does in fact strike bottom on me. But once again, it is far more pleasing to see how Thrill Kill Jill here is built a lot different. Well, folks, like so many wonderful things in the world, when it comes to sword swallowing, size really does matter. And Thrill Kill Jill is going to go just as deep and just as far down as she swallows this next sword here, 22 3/4 inches from the tip of her ruby red lips, straight down until it's touching and tickling the very bottom of her stomach. Here she goes. Oh my, sweet treat with a twist on the end. How about a hand for our darling of danger, Thrill Kill Jill? Yes, folks. Well, as it happens of all the ancient and deadly circus, sideshow, and stunt acts, sword swallowing happens to be the one and the only one that we can show you up close, in person, quickly, and quite easily how it really works. Now, what do you say, Thrill Kill Jill? These guys look like fun out here tonight. What do you say we show somebody here in the audience, hands-on, how sword swallowing really happens? Okay, cool. This is going to be fun. Because Thrill Kill Jill here happens to have an uncanny eye for picking out the perfect person with a natural knack for sword swallowing. But as it happens, every person born onto this planet is born with all the same parts on the inside, and thereby the same natural propensity to grasp hold of sword swallowing. Yet and still, it seems to be a little easier for some people than it is for some others. And it looks like Thrill Kill Jill spotted a natural all the way here from the back of the room. Give her some encouragement. Brave, beautiful young lady all the way from over here. Right here in the center.
Hard to believe there.
Thank you so much for coming out to the Sideshow Gathering and coming on stage right now to have a little sword swallowing fun with us. My name is Tyler Fire. What's your name? Deb. Nice to meet you. Deb, this is Thrill Kill Jill. And this is the greatest audience in the United States of America. Look at that, Deb. They love you already. As rightly they should. Now, Deb, Thrill Kill Jill has got something special for you here. Go ahead and take hold of this Cobra sword for a minute, please. And the first thing we need you to do is to fully examine this sword from one end all the way to the other. You know, a lot of people seem to think there is some kind of trickery involved in the sword itself. Well, Deb is putting that to the test for all of us right now. She sure is. As a matter of fact, Deb, I'll give you a couple of things you can look for. Things people say to us all the time. They say there's a button on the handle and the blade folds up inside. Can you check that out? See if there's any way that might be possible? Another thing people say is the blades aren't made of metal, but they somehow bend up, curl up, or fold right up inside our mouths. So, Deb, just like you're doing, can you check the whole length of the metal blade with your hands? Just like that. Make sure it really is solid all the way down. You're doing a great job. As a matter of fact, Deb, now that you have run your fingers the entire length of my sword, it would be a good time to tell you that the end of that sword has been inside my stomach. But it's okay, Deb, because we clean that sword like once a month. So you've got nothing to worry about. Deb, you're doing a great job. We're not trying to trick you or fool you. It's not a puzzle you need to solve. We just want you to have a minute to really get familiar with the sword, because here's what's about to happen. Deb, I promise you have got the easy part of this act, although your part is also the most important. You see, here's what we're going to do. Deb, in just a moment, I am in fact going to swallow the entire length of this sword. I am going to lean over, and I'm going to wink at you. Now, Deb, when I wink at you, that's your cue, okay? You're going to grab onto the handle and gently, please, pull the sword straight out. You can do that, can't you, Deb? There you go. I know you can. I do it myself, but I don't like to pull out. Now, Deb, I've got complete confidence placing my life in your hands, but before I do, I'm going to give you a couple more tips and pointers about sword swallowing. For one, Deb, you do not want to push in on the sword. No. Not at all. No, you don't want to grab the sword with both hands and twist it around like that. No, Deb. You don't want to do that either. Really, all you want to do is when I wink at you, you grab the handle and you pull the sword straight out. Now, Deb, you're going to be fantastic in this. I got just one question for you now, and that is, Deb, are you ready? That's awesome. Are you guys ready? That was awesome. Am I ready? Well, we'll find out right now. Here we go.
really? Yeah.
That was fantastic. You were really good. I gotta tell you, I was worried for a second one of us might throw up on you. Speaking of that, can you see what I had for dinner here in Wilkes-Barre tonight? I'm just teasing you, Deb. As a matter of fact, you've been fantastic. You've been so good. We're gonna ask you to do one more thing with us up here. Deb, will you stand right here in the center of the stage and take a great big bow, because this thunderous roar of applause is for you, Deb, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, she really was good. I know. Well, folks, people ask us all the time, how do you get into sword swallowing? How do you learn the act? Well, folks, as it happens, I like to think absolutely anyone could learn to be a sword swallower. Now, typically we say it's like anyone could learn to be a doctor, right? You can't learn today how to be a doctor. It takes years of training, in some cases, an entire lifetime of training. Now, folks, early on in the sword swallowing learning curve, things can be a little bit, let's say, unpleasant at times. I remember myself when I was learning to swallow swords in Coney Island from Frank Hartman. He would sit on the sofa and watch TV as I stood in our kitchen, which was about 5 feet away from the other end of the living room. I'd try to jam a sword down my throat, and he'd say, "Oh God, no, not like that!" And then I'd try it again, and I'd throw up in the sink. This went on for months, the way I remember it, until one day it sort of clicked. But you know, parents all dream that life will be easier for their children than it was for themselves. So folks, today, little Hank Lightning here is going to attempt to swallow a sword for the first time ever on stage. Now folks, in all seriousness, the length of the sword a person can swallow is not determined by how great a sword swallower they are or their degree of skill. It's really determined entirely by that person's height. And as Hank Lightning here is just a wee bit shorter than his mother or father, he's going to swallow a sword of his own that better matches his height. Okay, little buddy, just like we rehearsed it. Here we go. Over lips and down the tongue. Watch out, stomach. Here it comes. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A new sword swallower is born right here at the Sideshow Gathering. What a good boy. Ah, yes. Makes a parent proud. Now, don't give it away. You're going to take it out eventually. I tell you what. I know. He's tremendously talented. But then again, I am a little bit biased. Oh, we wouldn't want to do anything gross here at the Sideshow Gathering now, would we? Well, folks, I gotta say, standing here like this, I see the world in a whole new light. It's something that people told me would happen for years and years, and I said, of course I understand, but then it really happened, and I said, oh, now I understand, and it takes me all the way back to the person I was when I first came to the Sideshow Gathering. I can say it was 9 years ago. I couldn't come the first year. I was working in Coney Island. The next year I wrote my contract special to take that weekend off so I could be here. And 9 years ago when I came to the Sideshow Gathering, I gotta say, as a young single guy, I saw things a little bit differently. And I thought today I would pass on a little bit of the wisdom from the old Tyler Fire way back when. And I bring out an old act, an oldie but a goodie. Every now and then, you want to do something new, and then sometimes, like my old friend Keith Dindlestiff used to say, never give him more than 40% new material. Sometimes you just gotta play him the hits. And I got an act that served me well for a long time. I'd be thrilled to bring it back and share it with you guys here at the gathering. You know, it's really an act that I like to encourage everyone to get into themselves. And it's never too soon, although it's usually better if you wait till you leave the audience and get back to your hotel room to try this, because this here is an act that I like to call, though not always practice, how to get screwed safely. Let's see if we can get a little bit of background music to go ahead and kind of set the mood. Now listen carefully, because you're going to have to provide your own moving parts for this, okay? But I'm going to use this here Phillips head screwdriver and one lubricated condom. Now here's the way this works. As soon as you get yourself, or better yet sometimes, if somebody else gets you ready, you want to tear this sucker out of the package, and right off the bat, you have got to figure out which way is right side out. And this can take 4 or 5 minutes. Especially if it's dark and you've been drinking. Let's face it, sometimes isn't that the best way? Once you get this far, you want to squeeze in that bubble on the end, the reservoir tip. And you want to roll this slippery little sucker all the way down. I've never actually done this act wearing a Baby Bjorn, and I gotta say, I feel like this part of the act might look a little weird from the audience. All the way down, all the way, covering all the moving parts. I had no idea they rolled this far down. Apparently, I have no idea how to use these things at all. Once you get this far, this is the good part. You absolutely must find a willing and accommodating hole. Well, I'm going to use this one right here. But you know, I learned a little something from Drill Kill Jill the other day, and she told me if you lick it first, it goes in easier. Oh, girls, if you think that part was gross, just wait a second. Because I'm going to start off nice and gently at first. I'm going to slide this all the way in there, all the way up to the hilt. Now once you get it in this far, this is the good part. Now you want to thrust, center, repeat a little bit, just like so. There we go. Oh yeah. Now once you get going, you can change positions if you like. Yeah, you get going a little faster. A little longer. A little harder, and you know, now this doesn't work all the time, but sometimes you can take it out and put it in the other hole. You are definitely going to want to lick it first if you try this. Now once you get it in there, you go a little longer. Yeah, a little longer, and that's about as long as it takes. Especially if you get it in the other hole. Now, I don't know if this has ever happened to any of you guys before, but I'm going to tell you all something that has definitely happened to me. You get to the end, you finish up, you pull out. And you realize you've left a little something behind.
It's like a hat, but I can't wear hats because I just...
Well, what do? You go back in there with both hands, fishing around for it? No. You just tipper the $20 and go home? No, it's really very simple. All you have to do is shake it up, take a deep breath.
No, there's a guy who has